Welcome to Game Plan.
What's up, man? Welcome back, Chris.
Woo!
Yeah.
The only person missing from this house is Michelle Hawaii. She honors us with TV6. I'm not taking that just so I'm telling you, Michelle. Call us, yeah, because
call your boy.
You had to call us and come back inside. We decided to do a podcast because
we have nothing else to do, really.
Yeah, that is how it goes. And we kind of ludicrous and lunatic-ish.
And that's really the bottom line here. Yeah. What you're gonna see, the company was called Three Ring Circus. That should tell you. Right? So welcome to the circus. Yeah. It's your boy Tay. Of course, this is Chris, the Guru Gill. And we're going to talk tonight. This show is called The Game Plan. So welcome to The Game Plan. You're in The Game Plan. So what is The Game Plan about, Chris?
We're just going to talk general sports, of course, relating mostly to Trinidad. And we'll kind of dig into
Tobago.
And Tobago. Well, remember...
You're playing Watson Duke. Hey, Watson Duke, what's up, my boy? Just remember, whenever it is you extricate Tobago from the rest of us, some of us, we would like to have a special visa. You could call us. We want to be ambassadors.
Yeah, anything like that. Then I would like to see, because he started to roll up his sleeves today in an interview, or yesterday. I think it's today or yesterday. So, and it's almost as like he was kind of challenging. Tell Rowley, yeah, you ready to roll up his sleeves? I would actually like to see that. I think Rowley might handle him, you know. Rowley fit. He's 70, but I think he fit.
I think he could take him.
I feel he could take him. What's not feel you might meet your match there. But we could try it. Rowley versus Watson Duke.
I think that's a
3 rounds of exciting action.
Must see TV. Definitely. But you know, the reality though, in terms of sport, a lot of the past 10 or 12 years ago would have been a lot of the Tobagonian athletes. So Kellyanne Batiste, Rennie Cow, Lalon Gordon,
Emil Abraham.
Emil, exactly. So, and there are new generation.
Tobago, no, I took it. Close enough, but
but you know, the new generation of athletes. So 2019 Curfta team, Trinidad and Tobago sent, I think the larger contingent from the national team was from the island of Tobago. So in terms of what it would impact the team TTO, it would be a significant change.
Do you have any footballers from Tobago?
Dwight York.
Besides it, because Dwight was a star of epic proportion. Dwight is a star of epic proportion. I ain't ever going to take that from
Dwight York.
That is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We had any cricketers from Tobago that we could talk about?
And that's the thing. So cricket, football, rugby.
It's interesting.
Anything else? Tobago clearly has the athletes. You know, the physical stock is there because size, strength, fitness, ability, it's there. You could see it. Tobago has that rural lifestyle. So they throw earlier. They run around more. So
nobody am playing iPad and thing.
I mean, come on, Tobago not that backward.
No. What I mean is, when you have that kind of atmosphere where you could step outside, go to the beach, you could run along and stuff, your kids tend to, the chance that you can do it is there, so they will do it more.
Yeah, it's
not that they wouldn't play with iPads, but they would do that more often, and that leads to a healthier lifestyle.
It's more available.
Definitely. You know? It's easier access.
Yeah, and that, when the athlete comes, when the athlete comes into sport, they're physically stronger.
Better.
That physical strength is easily translated into prowess on the field. So really and truly, what we need to look at is, in terms of coaching development, systems. You know, that's a word that a lot of people talk about, and it's a perfect segue into other discussions about other sports and other topics that are more present right now.
First topic.
We ain't going in there yet? Alright, so we ain't going there.
We're going. Let me go. The first thing that has been controversial this week, last week really, it come up in my Facebook post a few times, is this Rachel McKinnon, who you talk about development. Alright, so I'll give you all this story. Rachel McKinnon is a male, a former male who has transitioned, as it's called, to being a female, and is now riding in the Masters category and winning the World Championships at the Masters level and breaking world records. Initially, there was no real backlash when she initially started competing. I would say that.
Because she was getting licks.
No, I think she was still winning and she wasn't doing badly.
But she wasn't the world champion.
But
so she was getting licks from a girl born woman.
Right.
Now, just on Chris, I just want to add something here.
Add.
It's very easy for the LGBTQ community to label conversations like this as homophobic.
Bullshit.
I am not homophobic.
I call him bullshit on that.
I am not homophobic.
Can I say that?
I have
Can I say that
absolute,
on
not on our YouTube, we have to bleep that out. Because it's demonetized and then they trade down on the searches and all that. So we can't cuss in no way, no form.
Okay.
But it is not about homophobia. It is about understanding your personal preference. I am a straight, heterosexual, born male with a penis, and I want to stay that way. And I have boy children, and I want them to stay that way. And that is my preference. It's not that I hate gays or trans or what. You can do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, you're a man competing against woman. Because you were a man for most of your life. Now, you know what's complicating this though, Chris?
Let me hear.
The NCAA, right, is allowing men who identify as women to compete.
So, all right,
once you've fit certain criteria, and part of it is that you go on hormone reduction therapy for 6 months. So in other words, Chris,
I decide.
you have your shot.
Right.
Yeah, he don't have the legs, right? Look at that. You know what I mean?
It's like running 100 meters and thing I done out.
No, it's a NCAA cycling.
Them girls will beat me bad. But you know what? I'm gonna give a slightly different view. So this is what and I'm gonna not break it down, but this is what I think, right? We have the current laws as stated by IOC say men who have transitioned to being women and are taking
hormone reduction
therapy for over 12 months and registering a certain amount of testosterone per
blood volume
or 10
per volume,
per volume can compete with women. Now, that's the current law. I'm not disagreeing with that. They can. Fine. That's what the IOC say. Let's go with it. The problem I have is the fact that take Rachel McKinnon. I've met her. I'm not a friend of hers, but I've met her. She's 6'2".
Taller than both of us.
That's right. So
she's 200 pounds.
She's 200 pounds. So what I've always
slightly bigger than me.
So what I will ask
I lie. I'm 10. I'm 220 between 2 something.
So this is what I would ask. If she was born a woman, would she have grown to 6'2"? Would she be, if you understand? So right away, she has received an advantage by being born a man, grew up a man till her mid-20s, then transition. That's one aspect of it. There is never, right now, nobody can say there's enough research to say we have conclusive evidence that had she been born a woman or she didn't transition or whatever, that there isn't advantage. They are trying to get the playing field level, but I think they're so far off in terms of where they need to be because it's new. You know, the actual entire scenario has only been happening for about 10 years at most, so it's new. The other thing that I'm really disappointed with is Rachel, every time somebody questions the science, she labels them as
transphobic.
Homophobic, transphobic, or whatever. That is utter nonsense. She's sounding just like Donald Trump. Every time somebody criticizes him, they're Democratic. No, they are allowed to criticize you. It is a topic worthy of discussion. We need to discuss it. Right. It needs to be discussed, and it needs to be discussed in an open manner because at some point, somebody, you know, and I'm saying in the next 4 years, I'll bet in this. You are better dollar. But anyway,
I don't mind to bet.
In the next 4 years, what's going to happen is that we're going to have somebody who's an Olympic quality athlete that's transitioned. And that is when countries like England and America and all hell is going to rise up, and there are going to be so many arguments and the research, and people are going to come back with different research modules and say no and say yes, and some will be for and some will be against, and things will get even more complicated.
And you know what is important too, because Rachel McKinnon is one category, a transition, fully functioning
female,
right? So removed penis, removed testicles, right? So that is first, right? So, for instance, Bruce Jenner has not declared whether he has removed that to become Caitlyn Jenner, right? So there are degrees. It's a spectrum of transition. So that's one thing. The other thing is, when you put that situation into the context of what the IAAF is calling difference of sexual DSD, sexual development. People like Caster Semenya, South African middle distance runner, 800-meter world champion from 2017, Olympic champion 2016 Rio. Born woman, but with a little kind of note below.
I ain't going to all of that.
No.
Just by looking at Caster's face, she little mannish.
Listen, it doesn't matter. It's a real mannish woman that you could just walk down the street and find and, hi, how you doing? And they'll be like, hi.
So
Caster, and that's okay. Let me make a point. The point is, Caster Semenya is being barred from competing as a woman in women's competition in the IAAF. Why? Because she has different genitalia.
Yeah, not because she was a man, not because she transitioned, not because even her current testosterone level is just in and around where Rachel Owen is. So basically, she's been knocking around 7 or something like that. They now said that for people like Caster, she has to be at 5. So previously, they allowed her to be at 10. So they allow Rachel to be at 10. So this is Rachel McKinnon, who was a man. She can run at 10, but Caster now has to run at 5. So again, I think, I'm telling you, by the end of this year, maybe going into mid next year, that rule is going to change again. And they're going to change it again before we can take another deep breath. And it will probably change a third time before the end of 2020. Because I think as time goes on and the science keeps coming back and people keep doing research, more and more is being discovered about what happens to the body, the people who are born male, transition. The other interesting point that you didn't get into is, before we close off on this topic, is the IOC has now allowed males to not actually go through the transition surgery and compete as females. So once their testosterone level is suppressed to that below 10, they can actually, yes, have a penis, yes, have testicles, and yes, be running in the women's race.
So this is a...
Think about that for a second.
You know, I don't want to think about it at all.
Well on that.
But you know, a major part of the issue is next year is Tokyo Olympics. So we have a few months before we see these concepts and theories and ideas being tested in reality. So far we've yet to see a fully transitioned transgender woman compete in women's category at the Olympics.
Or even at a high level, even at sub-world class. I don't think we have one as yet.
Well, in MMA, Fallon or whatever.
Yeah, but MMA is...
No, Fallon hands bigger than mine, right? So my hands ain't small. Chris, put your knuckles there, right? This is man hands. If you get slapped from me, you're going to remember that, right? You get slapped from Chris, you're going to remember that. So imagine you get a punch, the levers, the bone density, everything, the muscularity, the density of your muscle tissue. These are things that are not going to be affected by one hormone, testosterone. And you also have to remember, Chris, I mean, testosterone, you take a shot today, you're on a cycle of gear for whatever, 12 weeks on or whatever. The results of that training last longer than just the hormonal levels in your body. So what we can anticipate that's happening, because athletes cheat. That's why we have WADA, right? So athletes are already cheating. So what we will see happening is that transitioning athletes who will try to cheat the system by going on and off their hormone replacement therapy and trying to peak or trough, time their lows in time for whoever testing or whoever competition schedule.
They have a lot to it. A lot. And I think to just, again, I'm disappointed in Rachel McKinnon for just labeling anybody that's questioning the science, that's questioning the rules, that's saying, look, maybe we need to take a deeper look at this, maybe we haven't done, and we have not done enough research, and we have not really dug into the situation and see whether it's absolutely fair to label anybody who is questioning any of those things as being transphobic or whatever.
And let me tag
is highly unfortunate.
Let me bookend this one time.
I'm trying to be real political.
I don't care what Rachel McKinnon and other trans athletes do in their bedroom, in their personal life, how they love, how they share intimate moments with each other. I don't care. That is none of my business. But I am a sports journalist. And when I am talking about sports, I'm talking about it from my own perspective. And I definitely know what I want to see. And trans men who are transitioning to women is going to destroy women's sport.
I might have a different opinion. I don't know if they will destroy women's sport.
Because they're going to win.
I don't know.
They're going to win.
I think by the time we get to that, I think they will have leveled the playing field. I think we are far away from it. I honestly think we are far away from having a transgender Olympic champion.
I don't think we're so far, no?
I think we are close to like I give it 12 years.
Have you ever met an Olympian who didn't go to the Olympics with medal ambitions?
Many.
That they just wanted to go online?
No, but I mean I've met
in the back of their mind, they know they wanted to win. They might not been able to.
And you think a lot of them, so you know.
I'm saying if
a few of them might be willing to switch genders, that's a,
no. I'm saying that if a trans woman goes to the Olympics, she going to win. She ain't going to hang out.
No, let me leave it there. He says she's going to win. I say it's about 12 years before they even get one close to being the Olympics. We could defend that. Next up, TTFA elections are coming up.
Remember we talked about this as being a clown show?
So first up,
we have reached to the clown section of the clown show.
Game Plan is brought to you by Gill Mobile. Free mobile all the time, and of course you can get Green Ox energy drink. That's for when you want to go stronger for longer. Now on to the TTFA elections. Woo! All right.
Trinidad and Tobago Football Association.
Yes.
The last, how much years? Is 3 years or 4 years? They've been governed by
David John Williams,
former businessman, former owner of a TTProLeague franchise,
right?
And now at the helm of probably the most controversial administration in the history.
Right.
Hold on, of Trinidad and Tobago sport.
I will agree with
and you have to remember that this is the same country that birthed Jack Warner. So if you're top Jack Warner for Bacchanal, then that's saying something. That's saying a lot, Chris.
All right, you know what? Yes. In my view, and I know David John Williams, I can't say he's a friend, but he's an acquaintance. He has been controversial. The first question, in your opinion, so if I were...
Of course.
All right, I agree he's been controversial. Has he been effective?
At what?
At governing,
anything? No.
At governing the sport. If the answer to that is no.
He is a rank. Okay. You know when you crossbreed two dogs, you get a mixed breed dog?
Yes.
But once it have more than two breed inside, there's a potong.
Yes.
We talking potongs here. We talking what it would be assorted pedigree mongrel dog bad here, right? David John Williams as a human being, I have no beef with the man. But his governance of Trinidad and Tobago football under his tenure has been abysmally bad. Right?
David, you know what? What I was disappointed, I'm totally, I think...
you giving him credit for something? Give me that first, because we can agree on the bad parts.
I'll give him credit.
Give him credit for
building the home for football. He built the home for football. I give credit
How?
for that. Well, not with his two hands.
And with what money? And where it come from? And with who actually did the building? These are questions.
And I find these are questions he should have allowed anybody who wanted that information, and I feel anybody who wants that information should have that information. And here's one of the things about information in today's society. Whether you like it or not, it's an information world. So I had a conversation earlier with one Michael Awai, another friend of mine. And one of the complaints Michael talked about was how rapidly information from executive meetings and other, I suppose, detailed information of the TTFA would end up in the media, in the press or whatever. Personally, I have no problem with that. I honestly have no problem with that. I can't see why, if we had a meeting, an executive meeting, and even if you ain't type out all the minutes yet, and I know and I sending it out in the media, no big thing. I really not issued with that. Unless it is pertinent, of course there's information that you can't share or might thing, right? But just in general, we made a decision today to fire Tay as the head coach of the national football team. Yeah, we could send that out.
No, of course, Chris, there are things that will always be sensitive and timely information. So we get that. But everything can be sensitive and timely information.
Yeah.
And not only that, you cannot base an organization that is receiving public funds.
Have they received public funds?
Of course, the Ministry of Sport through the sport company has paid the salaries of the TTProLeague. The TTProLeague is the biggest voting block for the TTFA.
No, they only have 12 votes.
That is the biggest voting block.
Serious, man?
Yes, it is. So the next block would be the Super League led by Mr. Lecloy, and I think they have either 8 or 10 votes. So the fact is, they're the TTFA, the
Pro League
is the biggest voting block.
Next, then followed by Super League, then followed by the Eastern League, Northern League, Southern League.
But
Central League,
the thing about it is they're receiving public funds.
I agree. Here's another good question.
So Dennis Tay Allen could ask questions and deserve answers.
A point that was brought up today in my conversation with Mr. Y is the Secondary Schools Football League is not an affiliated TTFA.
They have a member. They have a seat, and they do have a vote.
No, but what I'm asking is, are they? Because they
in the executive, on the board, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But so you know what though?
It's very interesting because what was you just generally assume that school football is part of TTFA, or is part of the or is part of it, and then you realize that they might not be.
Yeah, but historically, right?
Secondary schools do their own thing.
Historically, actually, I think secondary schools football might be older, or no, maybe not as old as the TTFA.
I if it's older, it might be more popular.
No,
Listen,
just going back a long time.
Secondary schools football more popular than football. Listen,
that is something that
Facebook
I don't want to say is irrelevant, but you know what? Popularity contests don't mean that there is a relevancy contest.
All right, so
right?
Let me cut to the chase. We have 3 groups of people going for the election. We have a Wallace group who is, I think Wallace is his name. He's the head of the Secondary Schools Football League. He's the president of that league. He is vying for the presidency of TTFA. I see a serious conflict of interest, but that's just me. Then there's Ferguson, who is the man that was Terminex. He was the man behind the Ascension League, and he is the man, I think, right now behind major sponsorship for the Pro League, right? Again, I see some conflict of interest, but that could be just me. I don't know if I just seeing things. And then, of course, we have the incumbent David John Williams and co.
Let me ask you a question, right?
Ask me.
Let me talk about this Ascension League for 10 minutes here.
10 minutes, boy, give it a gate.
The Ascension League is basically a bailout of the TTProLeague. The TTProLeague has never functioned outside of providing a platform for the sport side. And remember, we have to understand that from a commercial, it's been an abysmal failure.
And continues to be so.
Right? And there is no end in sight.
No,
right? For that. The Ascension League is not going to change that.
There will be an end in sight.
Well, there you go. Might end it.
I will. Hire me.
You and you go home.
Hire me. The end will be in sight rather shortly. Yeah. I find.
I mean, one of our.
You know what? Let me cut you across. You know what I loved about Dexter Skeen?
Another good friend of yours.
Yeah, he was. He is. Oh God, I know everybody. He was the eternal optimist. Dexter, wherever you are, he was. Dexter used to come on every show and talk about Pro League going to change, and we're going to do this, and we're going to go back to.
And I respect Dexter. But that was never going to happen, Dexter.
Not only did it wasn't going to happen, I think Dexter knew it wasn't going to happen, but he decided that that was going to be his anthem for whatever time he was in office, and he stuck to it. Whether or not it was really what he believed, maybe it was what he believed, but knew that it couldn't come true. Because I'm sure he knew it couldn't come true after a while. Because he's not an unintelligent fella.
He's a bright guy. I think he has an MBA.
And
he have a very good St. Mary's College education.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you need in life.
That's all you really need.
Seriously.
So if he was half as bright as us, he knew what was going on.
He had all the tools.
He had all the tools. He knew that wasn't happening.
But you know something though?
He still recited the verse.
A lot of what is happening and what has happened with the TTProLeague is endemic for Trinidad and Tobago sport. Small markets are reluctant by the private commercial enterprise side to embrace sponsorship because of the fragility of their brands. Most of these brands here in Trinidad and Tobago anyway are franchise brands, so they're not the marketing budgets for those brands are not being paid by the local franchisee. They're being you'll have to go to a Latin American marketing department to get that kind of money to really kickstart. If you're looking for a simple thing as a shirt front sponsor for a team, a shirt front sponsor in a major sporting franchise, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars. Down here, you're getting that for maybe 250,000 TT for a year, right? Now, that's not a hell of a lot of money, but it's a lot of money for a small business.
It is.
With a small market. Because it's cash, right? So when you're saying, okay, you're going to give $250,000 in cash for one shirt front sponsor.
For Skill and Company.
It have no TV deal.
Yeah. Well, now they have a TV deal. They have a Pro League supposedly have a TV deal with Sportman.
There's a TV deal too. I buy that TV and we have a deal. Right. No, but seriously, right?
So bad, but go ahead.
It is that bad because who's watching it, right? So there are a lot of different issues that are at play here that are stacked against the success of these sports franchises as commercial entities. So we knew it was a rigged thing from the start. We knew it was always going to be very difficult from the start.
So do you ask what you are saying?
But what does Ascension do differently? What does Ascension plan to do or demonstrate that they can do differently and better than the failed TTProLeague?
So far,
nothing. So far, Richard Ferguson, Mr. Ferguson, sir, if you had that money burning in your pocket, come and talk to us.
I need a
Dennis
BMW.
Chris, we would have advised you on how to spend that money. But
yeah,
you know,
I agree. I can't see that as anything new.
It's nothing new. It's nothing different, and it's more of the same.
And as the people say, it's putting good money after bad money.
Indeed, and you know what? Branding it as the Ascension League, you know, changing the rows, changing the name of the rows does not make it anything different. Yeah. Putting lipstick on the pig does not make it any different. The fact is, and I'm not against football. The fact that I've never gone to see a pro league football match in my life says nothing about my love for football.
You're against football.
Right?
You're against them.
I am. Actually, no, I'm not. But seriously, I think that the Pro League, the Super League is a better run organization. It is a better supported organization, and it has a better business model than the Ascension League and the former Pro League. And that is why I think that I don't believe that Lucloy is it's much of a different character than all the others. He's a megalomaniac type of person. He's not a
Get your dictionary, look it up.
All right, let's put it in a different way. He's a maximum leader type of personality.
Right, you're right.
Right? He is unwavering in his support for his own ideas, and he is enthusiastic about the things that he likes. No different from Ferguson, no different from this other guy from Wallace, no different from David John Williams. The fact is, you will always be met with resistance, with other ideas, with opposing ideas. How does the planned transition team, because I don't think John Williams is going to return to office. It's going to take a miracle or bubble. And it's Trinidad, so any one of them two things could happen, right? Because
so you betting John Williams won't make it back in?
I don't think he will.
I am betting
that he coming right back, right?
I am actually betting that he will win the election by one vote. I put in money that he will win the election by one vote.
And as your partner vote.
Could be.
Could be a hint.
Hint. But
No,
I think he will win by one.
You know,
not that I care.
why are they at 6'8"? Also led by another able-bodied Saints man, Lasana Liebird. Why are they at 6'8" has blown apart these issues in a lot of detail with a lot of very, very pertinent information. And what is important is that going in to those elections, the machinations behind the campaign, because really and truly it hasn't been a campaign. It's really just I put up my hand and yeah, this is my squad. And what is happening, what John Williams' plan for the future really hinges on two things: the home of football,
right,
and an idea that he's been having for probably over a decade now, a Caribbean professional league. Right? Now these two things on paper are great ideas, Chris. Right? But who's going to run this home of football? How are you going to say? Check me out here. You're on a compound with Attobolden Stadium, the
National Cycling
Center and the National Aquatic Center. Right? And quite often during the peak of the Java, July, August vacation, we don't call it summer, and we don't call it that, we call it Java now. Yeah, right. During the peak of the Java, you often have 3 events at the same time. So you're talking about maybe 2,000 cars there, right? So how are you going to fill up consistently enough to make money from the project? A 50-room hotel with no clashes, because they're saying that they want other sports to come there. You don't have sports franchises to fill your football. You don't have the beach soccer championships, because there's a nice beach soccer court there. Pitch, court, whatever, field, dirt, beach soccer facility. They have practice fields, it's beautiful.
Right, you're right.
We have never had a problem building things.
I agree.
We have a problem running things and maintaining things.
Classic example,
right? And
the
filling
National
seats.
Cyclist Center.
Filling seats. So without franchises, all of these venues, they're just going to stand up and watch you whole day, whole night.
I agree with that. And then the other thing that I think is pertinent, from that point of view again, is coming back to the whole league, right? You have a pro league. Trying to do a Caribbean league sounds like a good idea, but a Caribbean league only is going to happen in terms of having strong national league.
Look at what's happening with the CPL. The CPL evolved out of the Caribbean T20 championships, and they sold the rights to a franchise licensee. And those franchises were now sold to individuals.
Right.
So what used to be the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force is now the TKR. But the reality is, it's a different thing. Have you seen CPL financials?
I, Chris Gill, have not.
Neither have I. And I don't think there are many people who have. So we don't know if it's a successful business model.
At this point in time, I would venture to think, I would bet.
It looking nice.
Hold up now. I ain't finished.
Okay,
I would
right,
venture to think that they are not financially over the hump just yet.
What hump?
I think
that it didn't have no hump when it was Caribbean T20 championships. It didn't have no hump then. How come it have a hump now?
I definitely think where they're at right now, I think they're at a point where I will give them another 3 years before they get to that break-even point. I honestly think that's where they are. Just from a personal
ever the optimist.
I am.
Me?
I
don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Honestly, I think we need to do a few things. First of all, we need to start watching online betting on cricket. It is not regulated in the Caribbean, and wherever there is a gap, that's an opportunity for these. I mean, online betting scandals have plagued cricket all over the world.
Shaki Al Hassan was just banned for 2 years.
Why we acting like if that can't happen here in Trinidad, in the Caribbean, the land of the bubble?
I think it does happen. It's just I think it's not recorded.
Exactly.
I definitely think it happened.
Right. So that's one of the things there. So that is going to affect that instability due to the unpredictability of what should have been predictable results. And I mean, I'm not casting aspersions here, but
you are.
one team won 11 matches and lost one.
Yeah, that could happen.
It could, right?
It could happen. It could happen. It could happen. All right.
I would check. I would check players' bank accounts and I would monitor transfers.
This man ain't easy.
I would do that. I'm not saying that.
This is where you will call GG interaction. GG. I need you to check these bank accounts.
I am not calling, and I am not insinuating that anyone did anything improper.
No.
However, if you're not watching those things, then you're not really serious about cricket.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, at this time, I would say I don't think that's happening, or at least there's no illegal. But I mean, if we're not monitoring betting and betting in cricket, if you didn't know, is a massive thing in India.
Pakistan,
Bangladesh,
all of the Pacific Rim,
Wales, and
England.
And just today it was announced that Shakib Al Hassan, the Bangladeshi captain, the guy who scored 600s in the World Cup. 600s? No. Rohit Sharma scored 500, but he scored the most runs. He scored 600 and something runs in the World Cup. He has received a 2-year ban with 1 year being suspended. So effectively it's a 1-year ban. And he didn't receive it because he took a bet. He didn't receive it because he engaged in betting. He received it because he was approached. Just hear the words. He was approached by people saying, hey Shaki, we want your bowl too dead ball here or too wide or whatever. And he just didn't report the approaches.
Exactly.
That was all it was. That was all it was. So you have to assume that somewhere along the line in the CPL, people are going to make approaches to players, especially fringe players, who might get one game, who might get pulled in for a couple of games. I could see it happening, and we just have to be careful with it. But
it's something that is going to affect the fortunes, but it's also going to affect your investment, and it's going to affect your the confidence that an investor will bring with large amounts of money, right, to the potential football, cricket. We have other sports, track and field athletics. NACAC is the most successful sub-region in the Olympics and World Championships at the IAAF competitions. So there are reasons to believe that Caribbean sport is something that is worth looking into as a professional franchise opportunity. So that is something that we need to start saying, okay, what is stopping us? And I personally, I have no beef against John Williams. I have nothing at all stopping me from the guy. The guy, he's an affable type, he has ideas, he's clearly intelligent, right? But you know what? You need to step aside and get away from your own self sometimes. Get out of your own way to allow people. Because if you're the brightest person in the room, it means everybody in the room is dumber than you. You anticipate, okay, if I have an intelligence quotient, an IQ of 139, and I'm in a room and everybody in the room saying exactly the same thing, what's the point of having these people in the room? Which is the problem when you have maximum leadership. You're going to tell other people, yeah, you saying the same thing I say, you saying this. And then you surround yourself with a bunch of yes men and women. And then what happens? Everything reflects your personality moving forward, right? But put yourself in a room where you're the dumbest person, as bright as you are. And what tends to happen? You challenge ideas. So somebody say, Chris, that's a stupidness, Here we can make this better. And that is what, that distillation process is what makes sport better.
Words, distillation
boy,
process.
big word, boy.
Look it up in your dictionary, folks. Distillation.
What else you want to talk about? You know what's going on too?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
NCAA just yesterday? No, today's the 29th. Yesterday was the 29th?
Yesterday.
Just yesterday cleared the path for student athletes to be paid for their image and likeness.
And not for their performances.
Not for their performance, but their image and likeness.
For just backing it up for people who may not know, and of course, because we understand sport and we are knowledgeable sport people. Over the years, the NCAA has vehemently, defended amateurism.
Yes.
And
by their definition.
By their definition. Let's be clear on that.
Right.
Meaning that an athlete who is in the NCAA cannot be paid or compensated
in any way.
So what it meant, for example, is when you are seeing some of these guys playing college basketball and their team is winning, these guys are receiving no compensation, at least officially this is. While that is happening, I want you to understand that, for example, if you take a team like North Carolina or University of North Carolina that has a very popular basketball team, their coach might be having a contract or being paid a contract close to $4 to $5 million a year, right? And the TV rights for their games, they might have sold to what is called the Atlantic 10 or one of those media conglomerates through Fox News, ACC or whoever they are, close to, again, another tens of millions. So what happens is the school and I suppose people who invest in the school, I don't know how it will go, are all making money, generally speaking, off the players. That's basically what was happening. This has been going on for a long while. And the players themselves, some players would you would hear stories of players not having or unable to pay their rent at school.
Well, okay, so a student,
maybe that might be a
scholarship student will not be paying rent. A scholarship student
he should be floating by.
In a Division I program should have everything. Full room, full board, full tuition, full meals, supplements, additional clothing. They should also have on-campus opportunities for extra study, for tuition, for
injury
tutoring.
Might have
they have all kinds of, so they'll have all of those things. And of course those things have a dollar value.
Yep.
But what is being contested is that when they leave school, you have eligibility for 4 years in the NCAA. The NCAA, schools in the NCAA own your image rights in perpetuity. So it means that Danny Manning, player from way back when in Kansas Jayhawks, they can still use his image and likeness. They can still put a Danny Manning number 5 jersey out and sell it. Harold Miner, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, anybody from a million years ago, right?
That's a little rough.
You can still, those schools can still sell your kit and you get nothing. And what is big now is, like, for instance, video games.
Right. So your image can be used in a video game like
and you get nothing.
So they might have college basketball, right? You might come up as one of the retro players that, like a full-time team or whatever.
One of the big, exactly, one of the
but
big.
But the school is collecting money. Don't worry about somebody getting paid.
The big growth in the technology space is virtual reality and augmented reality. So it means that you can put on some AR goggles, some VR goggles, and you can walk into a zone in one of these facilities and you can meet and greet Shaquille in LSU. You can go and meet Bo Jackson in Auburn. You can meet anything. Because why? Because the school owns those rights and you get nothing. So the image rights are, the athlete has nothing. Right? So, and it's a big deal for schools and for systems like us, because here is our business model for a sport like track and field. A kid will start on a track club about age 5, age 7, go to practice 3 days to 5 days a week, every year, 9 to 10 months a year, until they're maybe 18.
Okay.
And then they get a scholarship. The value of that might be about $50 per coaching session, right? That's fair, right? A 2-hour coaching session as a coach, Chris. How much would you charge? $20?
A lot more, but go ahead.
$50, right? So,
expensive.
Yeah.
I just let you know that.
Right, he pricey, right? So you can imagine you have an investment of over maybe $250,000 in this youth, and then what do? You give them away for free to an NCAA school.
Right.
And then for 4 years, you have absolutely no access because they would, anytime they come back to Trinidad, they run for their school. They're not running for your club coach, club team.
Right.
So they're not no longer Chris Gill Star Boys.
Right.
They're now University of wheresoever, whoever's, and they put on their university kit because you know what? The university is helping them come back home. And you have just lost your child, your bright starring athlete.
And then the other part that goes with this is, for example, if your runner starts to win and he's winning, so one, the university wins points and they get, they might win the NCAA title, overall title. That in itself has a earning potential for any of the schools.
Right, it's a bonus in their equipment contract.
Correct, and a number of things. Then add to that the fact that then if your runner is outstanding, he or her image they might be using to advertise, to get more athletes coming to the school, one, and of course to get more sponsors coming to the school, two.
And I have no problem with any of that. You know what's the problem I have?
But the athlete gets nothing.
No, the team here does not get anything.
Yeah, well...
Right? So you're not allowed to have a scouting fee. You're not allowed to ask for a placement fee. You're not allowed to ask for, all you have, XYZ brand of sneakers, why are you send down some for we? You're not allowed to ask for that, right? Because if the school gives it to your club, guess who gets penalized?
The athlete.
Not the school, not the club, athlete.
Yeah, that's
right?
how ridiculous it
So
was.
there are issues for NCAA financial model. Now there are over 460,000 athletes on scholarship in NCAA and NAIA. Actually in NCAA alone. In NAIA, which is the junior college
system,
right? There are also scholarship athletes. So we're talking about over 500,000 athletes in the college system right now.
One of the things I want you to always remember about this, the fact that we have a number of college athletes from the Caribbean and from other third world countries, Africa and in particular, that go to the States. One of the things is they are not, even though they receive an education, and I think everybody's grateful for that, and they are certainly grateful for that, in the end, when they do perform, they don't receive any compensation long after they've left school. And the support systems that bring them into being is, which is what you're saying, in some of these other colleges, schools locally, also don't get benefit or get any form of benefit. And again, we are helping a system progress or exist without receiving any benefit for it. That's the basic.
Look at the difference here. Look at what's happening with professional football, soccer.
I never hear sports talk so eloquently yet. But go ahead.
Professional soccer. From the time I think you're 12 years old, you can sign a contract with a team. You have an annual contract that you cannot change or transfer teams within the season. Right? So if your club, you start to play at the start of the season with a club, you have to go the whole season with the club. And then now, once you have a contract with that club, right? I think from 16, you can have a contract with your home club. Right? Then now, if a team wants to buy you, they come to your club.
Right.
They pay your club. So that for that club, it's an investment. And it's a model that was often talked about as part of our football business model, our commercial model for football in Trinidad and Tobago, that we now would be able to export young talent, right?
I just bring my phone out here.
Right, and
it's interesting that you should bring that up, because today in the conversation with Michael Awai, one of the parts of the conversation, and I'm talking, he was saying that schools, colleges, football in Trinidad and Tobago are not recognized or academies. So when schools produce footballers that may go on to be professional footballers, the schools never receive, or as it stands right now,
any compensation.
It may have rare cases of it happening, and that might be because somebody, maybe the player himself, decided to include that in the deal, but just generally speaking, there's no real compensation. So, for example,
what are we doing it for, Chris?
For
the love? This is the problem that we have. We have a model based on amateurism that is dating way back, generations of amateurism that we cannot break. We cannot say, you know what, we've invested into this youth.
We can.
This athlete is our product and we need to be compensated. We can't go in the grocery and say, you know what, we could real beat and score, but you score 5 goals later, like a ham. And 2 pound of fig.
This man is a vegetarian. He does not eating any ham. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know right out. No ham for him.
Right, but
so don't send.
But you know what? This is what's going on. We have a situation where to change our reality, because after the NCAA children leave school, very few of them, maybe less than 10% of them, move into top elite professional ranks.
Actually, I think the statistics is closer to 3%.
Right. So you
have
a situation.
97% of people who might be athletes that are gone into another thing, and the extra income could certainly be beneficial to them and their kids.
You know what happens?
For the rest of their life.
The closest Olympics to their graduation year. So if you graduate and the Olympics is 3 years from now, forget that. That means staying in the sport. But if you graduate and it's an Olympic year, you're going to train a little harder, you're going to stick around, maybe try to make an Olympic team, maybe try to make a world championship team. That happens. But if the Olympics is 3 years away or 4 years away, trust me, them kids, them out. So what you've done? You've done the best, you've created a top elite athlete, you've exported them, they got their benefit, and then what? Tomorrow you gotta wake up and say, okay, who's next?
Yeah, we gotta find out who's it.
Right? And the system collapses.
But no, the system doesn't collapse for the colleges.
It collapses for us because until we replenish those ranks, forget about it.
As you're talking about that, and then we're going to drift again into cycling, I just want to bring it up before we get to the end of the hour.
The Bacchanal with Emil?
The Bacchanal with Emil.
Oh,
the
God.
Bacchanalia with Emil. So, why are you taking a deep breath? Go ahead.
Fed up. Anyhow, go ahead.
You're fed up? What you fed up of?
You know what I'm fed up of?
Let me hear.
Small-mindedness.
I'm
fed up of...
What was the smallest mind that happened there?
Oh gosh, I don't want to name the man name.
No, don't name names.
I don't want to name the man name.
But what's your thought?
Right? The thoughts are this. What's the problem? The man whip up and down, smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no!
At 45.
At 40. Emil not a young guy.
No.
And Emil smack it up, flip it, rub it, he make mass and tongue. Enough respect, Emil is an amazing athlete. I've always said it, we need to preserve that man's DNA. You understand?
You may be in love with Emil, I will inform him of said.
Right?
I don't think he's on that kind of thing, but it's okay. I'll let him know.
What is the problem? Why are you...
I will tell you what the problem is.
Yeah, go ahead, break it down for the masses. Then.
I will break it down for the masses.
Tell me what you think of this. Tell me what you think of this.
Initially, and this is, I'm just giving you my take, it was the complaint, at least as it was reported in the newspapers, talks about the fact that he rides the Masters category for the US Nationals. Now, Emil has been living in the States for over 10 years, might be 15, might be even 20. And so he qualifies, as far as I know, as a resident of the States and can ride, or he might even be a citizen. And he might have to verify that. So he does qualify to ride the US National Championships based on their qualification standards as a resident, right, or citizen. And he rode them. So the initial complaint was that he rode those national championships as a master, and then he comes and he rides these national championships as elite. Let me be quite frank and say that is a nonsensical argument. Totally nonsensical. There's nothing in that. But the law that should have been, in my view, taken into account states clearly that if you ride a national championships that you are eligible for in one country in one season, you cannot ride another national championships in another country that you may be eligible for in the same season. Full stop. There are no exceptions to the rule. It doesn't say that you can ride masters in one or elite in one. It just simply says if you
have to pick one.
You have to pick one. And when I looked at the rule, and I've read the rule a couple of times, and my interpretation clearly, what I was saying to somebody is, let's say Emil also won the US National Crit Masters title, 45 plus or whatever it was. and then came down and rode this title and won this title. The UCI invented that rule for that exact reason, that you cannot be the national title holder in two countries in the same season.
Well, this is the other thing.
So therefore, you can't participate. It's not about winning, it's about participating. So I think somewhere along the line, I think that the racing committee did not interpret the rule correctly.
My question is this,
by
Chris.
rights, I am thinking, based on what I saw, he did not or is not eligible to ride 2 national championships in the same year.
My question is this. Clearly, if you could have ridden as an Elite 2 athlete, which is what your UCI license says, right?
Yeah.
His UCI license says he's Elite 2. So what if he had ridden in the US Criterium National Championships as an Elite 2 and won it? And he would have had the Stars and Stripes for the Criterium National Championship.
Right.
There, would he have been able to come back here
No.
and ride in the championships again here?
No.
So this is the thing. So for me, it's not really a question of how do we interpret the rules. It is a question of how do we apply the rules. Why did they allow him to enter the race in the first place?
Because they're a bunch of cretins.
Vaikivai. That's our next big word. Go and Google that.
Or cretinania.
Right? No, I have
I
no
have
problem.
invented that word.
Emil is my boy. He's
He's
one
a
of my
talented rider.
heroes. He's a hero of my generation. And like I said, I really think we should really look at preserving these athletes' DNA. But what happened should not have happened in the first place.
Yeah, and
because if you could ride, that means you could win. And if you win, you win.
Yeah, if you win, you win.
The
I have no
question
problem with him
should
winning.
be applied at the beginning. Where you going, sir? You're not allowed to ride here.
Yeah,
Done.
And if it is that there was some dispute prior, it should have been sorted out before he got to the starting line, which wasn't done.
At the registration.
And he had registered for the event, not the day of. He registered well in advance.
So this is the thing.
It wasn't like he suddenly appear on the day and say, hey, I just want to ride this. It wasn't like that. I think he had informed them prior. And I think they should have had that discussion before. But of course, the racing committee is cretinous. I will just leave it at that.
Let me talk about two other, because forget them.
But the other thing is, which is sad for cycling, or which people need to take a look at before we go off on the cycling thing, is Emil is 45 and he beat these guys. And I think coaches in Trinidad who are bad, he beat them bad. He was by far the strongest guy out there. He was by far the brightest guy out there. I think what coaches need to look at is, if you have a 45-year-old rider riding and beating your 25-year-old riders, you need to take stock of what you are doing with your riders in terms of your training, your ambitions with them, and start to look at what Emil is doing and see to yourself, hey, listen, maybe we need to up our game. I definitely think they do, and I think you can't blame Emil for beating these guys. These guys just need to up their game. Right.
Because the Cormoran, his teammate in the US,
yes,
right, for Pharmaco, he had to ride the junior race.
And lap the junior back twice.
Lap the junior
twice.
So clearly they're doing something that is on a different level compared to what these local riders are. But you know what?
Go ahead.
Alexi Costa,
broke
big pro contract. Tennille Campbell, big pro contract, UCI team. These are very important moves in our female cycling community, and we want to say enough respect and congratulations to these two very hard-working young women.
Very much so.
Alexi Costa just left to Cuba. She is over in Cuba for the that's our 1 hour warning there.
Beep beep beep. Yeah, she's off to Cuba to
defend her national Caribbean Road Elite Championship
and time trial champ.
Right. So she doubled up. She's the only female cyclist on the team.
Sad, because and this is one of the things that, again, coming back to sports, but when we do the podcast too, we'll get into that. There's a very much a brainwash sort of syndrome in Trinidad and Tobago sports in general, and I'll end on this note. That think if you build a velodrome, it means cycling is developing. That's nonsense. If you have a female champion, such as we have with Tennille and Alexi Costa, we are developing women's cycling. That also proves to be nonsense. We there needs to be an actual sport development plan that takes into account something that's based on data, that is orchestrated and has aims and goals for the long term. And that goes not just for cycling, I think it goes for all sports. And the reality of, as you're saying, you have Alexi Costa and it's almost like you have a vacuum behind her, shows that we don't have other women coming up. You know, if she were to ride the national road race, it might be her and Tanila alone, and that's it. Maybe two other girls, that's it.
We need to look at how do we recruit top elite female athletes. There are a cadre of, that's an next big word, right? Of
look it up.
Talented, elite female athletes in Trinidad and Tobago.
For sure.
They don't ride bike.
Some of them might.
But they'll be doing a lot of other sports, volleyball, track and field, athletics.
Who knows? We might have talented women.
They have all kinds of great women, fitness riders, triathletes. Pauline.
Lots of different.
What's this girl named? Pauline Williams.
Go ahead.
You know, Pauline from Try 868. She just completed her first Ironman triathlon in China. Congratulations, Pauline, a young woman that I've been watching. She's an amazing athlete. She's late in the sport, but you know what? We need talent, and we're not in a position where we could course on where they come from. We have to find women, because we need to have women's team pursuit. We need to have women's elite road cycling team. We need to have elite women in the under 23.
You're talking about me being an optimist?
Right? We need to have that, because otherwise what is going to happen is we're always going to have, hey, remember when Tanil and Alexi? Yeah. Trust me.
Well, folks, I think we've talked and talked and talked.
That is my liver string. We talked it out. That is it right there.
But again, I want to say thank you to you all for listening to the podcast. I'm Chris the Guru.
And this is Dan Stay. And remember, just follow us right across social media. TT GamePlan. Chris, you still have an Instagram? Is that,
Chris Gill, never had an Instagram. I just want you all to know that.
At TT GamePlan, wherever you are on the internet.
So when all the buffing people, buff him, tweet him, Facebook him, give him all the bad talk, all the criticism, because I know we go get plenty flack.
Alright, so look out, we have a lot of stuff coming out. We have some really important collaborations with some things, and you're going to see it, so stick around. We're going to try to do this weekly. If you have stuff you want to bounce at us, you want to send us some highlight clips, whatever,
send it in
bounce it at us. You will have all the contact information will be attached to this video. So it's your boy Tay. Thanks for sticking around. Welcome to the circus.
Yep.
Later.
See you later. Bye.